Hello and welcome to Module 7 of Part 1 of the Cōnsilium Aquīs Sulis course on ETCS. This module introduces ETCS supervision, standstill supervision, roll-away protection, reverse movement protection, speed and distance supervision. Finally, it explains the role of adhesion factors. Standstill supervision is used to prevent a train from moving when its ETCS onboard unit is in standby mode. If a train moves more than a short, configurable distance, the onboard unit commands brakes to bring it to a standstill. Typically, the distance is a couple of metres, short enough to prevent unauthorised movements, but long enough to allow train joining and splitting. Roll-away protection is used to prevent trains rolling in a direction contrary to that of their direction controller whilst on a gradient. If the train moves more than a short configurable distance in such a direction, the onboard unit commands brakes to bring it to a standstill. Reverse movement protection is used to prevent trains moving in a direction contrary to that permitted by the current ETCS mode of their onboard unit. If the train moves more than a short configurable distance in such a direction, the onboard unit commands brakes to bring it to a standstill. This may be the same or a different direction to that for which roll-away protection is applied. In newer versions of ETCS, standstill supervision and reverse movement protection are combined as unauthorised direction movement protection. Supervision is based on the most restrictive speed profile, MRSP, which is the most restrictive of the maximum speed permitted for the train itself, the speed limit for the current ETCS mode of the onboard unit, any speed restriction related to the use of the override function, the permitted speed for the section of track over which the train is travelling, any axle load related speed restrictions, any temporary speed restrictions in force for that section of track. Any speed restrictions calculated to ensure a given permitted braking distance, any ETCS Level 1 signalling related speed restrictions, any speed restrictions associated with an unprotected level crossing, the braking curves to decelerate for a speed restriction ahead, and the braking curves to stop within the distance the train is authorised to move. The MRSP is indicated to the driver and can be used for cab signalling in Level 2. If the MRSP is exceeded, the onboard unit sounds an alarm warning the driver of the need to slow down. Depending on the specific configuration, the onboard unit may also cut traction power when warning the driver of the need to slow down. If the MRSP is further exceeded, the onboard unit intervenes by commanding brake application. Where permitted speed is constant, ETCS applies ceiling speed supervision. Supervision of increases in permitted speed can be configured in two ways. The train can accelerate when its minimum safe front end reaches the increase. The train can accelerate only when its minimum safe rear end reaches the increase. Where permitted speed reduces, ETCS applies target speed supervision. Braking curves are calculated to slow the train to the new speed before its maximum safe front reaches the reduction. A special case of target speed supervision is supervision of the distance the train is authorised to move, for which the target speed is 0 km per hour. The ETCS trackside can inform onboard units of areas of reduced adhesion slippery rails. In such areas, braking curves are calculated with a configurable reduction in assumed braking rate, such that braking is instructed and enforced earlier. In summary, standstill supervision applies brakes if a train moves more than a short distance when its ETCS onboard unit is in standby mode. Roll-away protection applies brakes if a train moves more than a short distance, in a direction contrary to that of its direction controller. Reverse movement protection applies brakes if a train moves more than a short distance in a direction contrary to its current ETCS mode. ETCS calculates a most restrictive speed profile, indicates this to the driver, and intervenes to prevent trains travelling too far or too fast. Lower braking rates are used in areas identified as having low adhesion.